Exposed. Her millionaire fiancé's shocking betrayal with her mother revealed before the wedding. The small town of Maplewood was buzzing with excited chatter as Leah Phillips, a lively 28-year-old waitress with sparkling eyes, floated through her shifts at the local diner. In the quaint corners of her mind, she envisioned the fairy-tale wedding to her fiancé, Brad, a wealthy businessman adored by everyone. They were the perfect couple, the kind people aspired to be, and Leah believed she was living the mythical American dream. The thought made her heart swell as she imagined her white lace dress, flowers blooming, and Brad waiting at the altar with joy radiating from him. But that blissful day took a turn toward darkness. The image of her perfect wedding shattered in an instant when she stumbled upon a series of damning text messages while waiting for an evening shift at the diner. Leah felt her world tilt, the phone slipping from her fingers as bile rose in her throat. "I can't wait to see you again," one text read. Her stomach twisted as the next few words became seared in her memory. "I'll always choose you over her." The name that followed was her mother's, Helen. Leah's heart sunk as the truth unfurled before her. Her fiancé had betrayed her with the woman who raised her. As the whispers of betrayal rippled through the air like a storm, Leah found herself grappling with heartbreak. She felt shame crawling over her skin. How could she love someone who had betrayed her trust despite her unyielding loyalty? The talk around town grew darker too. The once adoring gazes turned to judgment as townspeople began to murmur about her unworthiness to be with someone so affluent. "Isn't she just a waitress?" they would say, their voices dripping with condescension. Before she could catch her breath, the wedding date loomed closer, an event that now felt like a cruel joke. On one side, her mother, the woman who had fought tooth and nail to provide her a good life despite hardships. On the other, Brad, the man who promised her love and a bright future. Each excruciating day felt like a tug-of-war within her heart, her loyalties splintered. Guilt gnawed at Leah, conflicting her desire for justice against the love she felt for the two people who had betrayed her. Then one stormy evening, Leah confronted them both in her mother's modest living room, the walls echoing with a tragic, explosive argument. "You lied to me," Leah yelled, tears spilling down her cheeks. Their faces, once full of love for her, reflected shame. The pent-up emotions erupted like a volcano, with Leah screaming not just for herself, but for all the years of trust that had been shattered. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. With the wedding date fast approaching, the air was thick with despair, confusion swallowing her whole. The vibrant celebration she pictured morphed into a haunting reminder of shattered dreams and deceit. But just when hope seemed lost, Leah's spirit ignited. Supported by her friends and understanding neighbors, she felt a wave of community rally around her, voicing their support. Strangers became allies, sharing stories of their own struggles, their own resilience. As she stood amidst the wreckage of her dreams, a flicker of clarity pierced through the clouds of pain. Leah must reclaim her story, a declaration of her worth that transcended the betrayal. But powerful emotions thrummed beneath the surface as she faced the monumental question. Could she ever forgive Brad and her mother? Or would she redefine love and family in a way she never imagined? Each tick of the clock resonated painfully as the wedding countdown persisted, leading her towards a decision that could transform her very existence. Leah sat on the edge of her bed, the fabric of her wedding dress draped over the chair like a ghost of expectations. It was the dress she dreamed of, not this haunting reminder of broken trust. Her heart raced as she replayed the images of the confrontation in her mind. Each jarring word echoed like thunder in the silence. Brad's face twisted in remorse, while her mother's wide eyes expressed a mix of guilt and desperation. She glanced around the room, taking in the floral arrangements and wedding invitations that had once filled her with joy. Now they felt like a betrayal themselves. She crossed her arms, seeking comfort from herself. The calendar mocked her with its glaring proximity to the day she once thought would define her happiness. Would any of it matter now? Like clockwork, her phone buzzed, cutting through her whirlwind of thoughts. It was a message from Mia, her childhood best friend. "Hey, let us go for a coffee?" You need a break. Leah hesitated. Could she face the world? The weight of betrayal sat heavy on her shoulders, and the thought of explaining felt exhausting. Yet Mia's unwavering support was like a beacon calling her back from the edge. After a long minute she typed back, "Yeah, sure. Be there in 20. As she walked to the cafe, Leah reflected on the conversations that would soon unravel. Could she really voice her pain? She wasn't sure if she wanted sympathy or confrontation. Bitterness threatened to drown her moments of clarity, but as she approached the familiar place, the comforting scent of coffee ushered in a wave of calm. Mia was already seated, her smile bright and welcoming. As Leah slid into the booth opposite her, she felt her friend's warmth wrap around her like a hug. "You look like you've been through a hurricane," Mia said gently, concern lacing her voice. "It feels like one," Leah murmured, staring down at her hands. I caught Brad and Mom together. Text messages, secrets, everything." Mia's eyes widened, disbelief washing over her features. "Oh Leah, I'm so sorry. I can't believe they would do that to you." Leah shrugged as fresh tears threatened to spill. "It hurts, Mia. I thought I could trust them. I thought the wedding would be the start of something beautiful. But it wasn't going to be beautiful if it was built on lies," Mia interjected softly. "You deserve more than this. You deserve a fresh start." For the first time since discovering the betrayal, Leah felt a flicker of something she thought she lost hope. "But how do you start anew when everything feels so broken?" she asked, vulnerability spilling over. Mia leaned forward, her intensity capturing Leah's gaze. "You take the pieces and build something else. Starting with what you want, not what they expect. Maybe it's time for you to decide your future. The wedding, the family, Brad, what do you truly want?" Silence hung between them, Leah's heart pounding with the weight of freedom tangled with the pain of loss. She had allowed the situation to dictate her future. But could she truly carve out a new path for herself? The thought alone was both exhilarating and terrifying. As the cafe buzzed around them, Leah felt a shift deep within. A choice loomed before her, one that would alter everything. The clock ticking towards the wedding date now felt like a countdown to liberation rather than despair. Yet, the path ahead held many unknowns, and apprehension crept back in. "Do you think I could just walk away?" Leah asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Why not? Your life is yours to live," Mia replied, the conviction in her voice wrapping around Leah like a promise. As Leah pondered those words, a sudden realization hit her. If she was going to take control, she needed to confront her mother and Brad. This time it wouldn't be about anger. It would be about reclaiming her agency. But were they ready to hear her truth? Would they even care? The weight of uncertainty loomed heavy, intertwining with her newfound resolve. Leah's heart pounded as she thought about the conversations ahead. Was she prepared to face them alone? The stakes were higher than ever. Would she truly find the strength to rewrite her own story? Leah left the cafe with a rush of conflicting emotions swirling inside her. The taste of reality mingled with hope was a dizzying cocktail. She clutched her phone tightly, messages from Mia still visible on the screen, each word a reminder that she wasn't alone in this chaotic mess. As she walked home, each step felt weighted yet liberating. The cool air brushed against her skin, a sharp contrast to the heated turmoil inside her chest. She needed to prepare for what was to come. Confronting her mother and Brad felt like staring into an abyss. Would they empathize with her? Or would it be just another round of their evasion? The door to her house loomed ahead. Leah hesitated, her fingers grazing the handle as doubt crept in. She could already hear the light chatter of her mother's voice drifting through the house, chirpy and unaware, a cruel reminder of what was to come. Would she even recognize the hurt that had swelled within her daughter? Taking a deep breath, Leah pushed the door open. The familiar scent of lavender and vanilla greeted her but felt suffocating this time. There was her mother, arranging flowers in a simple vase, humming a tune that once seemed sweet. The moment she looked up, the melody died abruptly. "Oh Leah, you're back. How is coffee?" her mother asked, the false cheer barely concealing the guilt in her eyes. "Can we talk?" Leah's voice was steadier than she felt. "Of course. Is everything okay?" The concern in her mother's eyes felt like a calculated move, and it made Leah's stomach twist. "Not really," Leah responded, her heart hammering as she approached the table. "I found out about you and Brad." Silence thickened the air, a suffocating weight. Her mother's face paled, the light in her eyes dimming. What do you mean? Leah, I don't, Leah interrupted, trying to keep the desperation from spilling out. I saw the messages. I read everything. Do you even understand how betrayed I feel right now? Her mother's hands trembled slightly, and she took a step back. Leah, I never wanted what? Leah's frustration flared, mingling with heartbreak. Did you want to destroy my marriage before it even began? Or did you think hiding it would make it okay? Tears streamed down her mother's cheeks, but Leah found it hard to conjure sympathy. I loved him first, her mother whispered, the admission hanging heavily between them. What does that mean? You've crossed lines that I never thought would exist between us. Leah could feel a chasm opening up, threatening to swallow the trust and safety she had once found in her family. Her mother took a shaky breath. I was foolish. I thought what? That you could have him too? Leah interrupted again, bitterness seeping into her tone. Just then, the front door swung open. Brad walked in, his casual demeanor incongruent with the atmosphere. The smile vanished from his face as he took in the sight before him. The tension could have been sliced with a knife. What's going on? Leah felt a storm brewing inside her. You, she spat. You're the one who needs to explain yourself. Brad glanced toward her mother, confusion swirling in his dark eyes. Leah, I know. It's her decision to tell you or not. You don't get to pretend like none of this is happening. Leah's voice was a whip, cutting through the air. The shift in the room was palpable. Anxiety thrummed in her veins as she watched her mother's resolve crumble. Would they finally face the truth? Or would this spiral into more denials and evasion? Leah, let us talk, Brad urged, walking towards her with hesitant steps. Talk? She could see the guilt etched on his face, the feigned innocence crumbling like a fragile facade. What's left to talk about after all the secrets? In that moment, Leah felt like a warrior and a victim all at once. Her heart raced, propelling her forward. But as she stepped between her mother and Brad, uncertainty tugged at her again. How would she ever find peace amid this chaos? She was done being the character in their story. Now it was time to write her own ending. Leah took a deep breath and prepared to let them know the truth of her journey. But would they understand? Would she find closure from the wreckage? The question hung in the air, heavy and unyielding, poised on the brink of revelation. What would unveil next as the truth seeped into the cracks of their carefully constructed lives? Leah felt the weight of her words hang in the air, a tangible pulse of reality that made her heart ache. She looked momentarily between her mother and Brad, each poised on the edge of a confession, their expressions a kaleidoscope of guilt and uncertainty. The silence cracked like ice beneath her feet. Leah, please, her mother murmured, desperation leaking into her words. It's not what you think. Then what is it? Leah shot back, her voice sharper than she intended. The question danced between them, almost mocking. Things just happened. We never planned for this, her mother stammered, the tremor in her voice betraying her composure. Leah could feel the anger swelling within her, a tidal wave of betrayal that threatened to drown her. Never planned? So you think that makes it okay? Leah's fists clenched at her sides. I can't believe you both thought hiding it would somehow spare me from this pain. Brad stepped forward, hands outstretched as if to catch her slipping sanity. Leah, I care about you, you know that, do I? Leah snapped, her chest tightening. Because right now it feels like I'm the last thing on your mind. Let us just sit down and talk this through, Brad pleaded, a hint of urgency creeping into his tone. But it felt disingenuous, as if he were just trying to buy time that Leah was no longer willing to concede. No, let us not, she countered, shaking her head defiantly. I've had enough of your talking. You think you can just smooth things over with words? This isn't some minor disagreement you can talk your way out of. Her mother's tears flowed freely now, streaking down her cheeks like a river of regret. I never wanted to hurt you, Leah. You were my little girl. But Brad, stop. Leah interrupted, her heart racing as the truth hit her like a punch to the gut. The very fabric of their family was fraying at the seams, unraveling into a chaotic mess. Just admit it. You both made a choice. And that choice has hurt me more than I can say. The tension in the room shifted, thickening like fog around them. Every breath felt heavy, almost suffocating. Leah felt vulnerable, exposed under the weight of their glaring admissions and unspoken truths. Brad's eyes held a glimmer of something. Was it guilt or regret? Leah couldn't tell. Leah, I never wanted to lose you, but I was confused. Things weren't perfect between us, and of course Leah interjected bitterly. You couldn't have simply talked to me? You had to go behind my back? The words came out sharp, swords dipped in betrayal. I messed up, Brad continued, almost pleading, but his tones fell flat. Things started between us and it just spiraled. I thought it was just a fling? Leah echoed incredulously, her voice rising. This isn't some high school drama, Brad. You were about to marry me. The realization hung painfully between them, each word a nail being driven deeper into her already wounded heart. Even as they stood there, she could see their guilt morphing into a desperate bid for absolution. Leah tore her gaze away, looking toward the window. Outside, dusk cast everything in a soft, fading light, creating a bittersweet separation from the chaos inside. She could feel the warmth of family slipping through her fingers like sand, and for a moment, she let the tears flow freely, letting the raw emotion wash over her. I can't do this anymore, she whispered, the strength behind her words wrapped in a sorrowful resolve. I deserve better than to be the third wheel in my own life. With shaky breaths, Leah turned back to face them. Her heart pounded not just from anger, but from the terrifying clarity of her situation, one that could change everything. I need time to think. I can't be here with you right now. As she stepped toward the door, her mother's voice trailed behind her, broken and pleading. Leah, please don't leave like this, but Leah opened the door, its silence echoing the finality of her decision. She stepped into the dim twilight, feeling the cool air wrap around her, not quite offering comfort, but a small measure of freedom. Outside, the world awaited her. Leah didn't know what her next move would be, but deep down, she felt on the brink of something monumental. A wave of determination washed over her, sparking a flame of defiance, and as she walked away from the past, one question lodged firmly in her mind. How far was she willing to go to reclaim her life? Leah walked briskly down the sidewalk, the sharp bite of cool air cutting through the crescendo of emotions swirling in her mind. Each step felt like a declaration of independence, a striking contrast to the chaos she had just left behind. Her heart still raced, but now it pulsed with a fierce resolve, a clarity she hadn't felt before. She could see her breath clouding in front of her, almost like a physical representation of the fog of confusion that had engulfed her just moments ago. The towering trees lined along the street shed their leaves like past promises, and in that moment, she felt the urge to shed her own burdens. Leah stopped and leaned against a nearby lamppost. The quiet of the evening felt surreal, as if everything around her still operated in a world where she had not just faced the deepest betrayal from two people she had trusted the most. The silence enveloped her, giving her a brief respite from the hurricane of thoughts crashing in her mind. Breathe, she whispered to herself, willing her heart to calm down. She thought of her past life, the wedding plans, the laughter, the dreams of building a future with Brad. It all felt like a cruel joke now. How could he have thrown it all away so easily? And her mother, how could she betray her daughter like that? As anger simmered beneath her surface, Leah released it, allowing her tears to spill uncontrollably for the first time. These were not just tears of betrayal, but of grief, the grief for the family she thought she had, the relationship she believed was unbreakable, and the innocence of that love that now felt tainted. But beneath that sorrow, another feeling ignited. It was the thrill of possibility. Leah wiped her tears and straightened her posture. She realized she didn't have to remain tied to the definition of her life they had crafted. She could redefine everything. With newfound conviction, she pulled out her phone. The glow from the screen illuminated her face as she skimmed through her contact list, pausing on names that represented different paths, different escapes. She hesitated, thoughts darting between friends and family who might provide solace. Then she remembered Claire, her college roommate, always the adventurous spirit. Before she could second-guess herself, Leah tapped on Claire's name and called. There was a brief lull before her friend answered. Leah? Is everything okay? Not really. I need to get out of town for a while, Leah said, her voice steady despite the emotional storm inside. Can you come pick me up? Of course. Where are you? Just near the park by East Street. Be there in 10. Claire's excitement was contagious, lifting Leah's spirits even in her despair. As she hung up, Leah couldn't ignore the little spark of hope that flickered in her chest. Maybe escaping was just what she needed. Moments later, Leah could see Claire's car rounding the corner, the headlights cutting through the twilight like a lighthouse guiding her home. It was silly, but in that moment it felt like a lifeline being thrown to her in turbulent seas. As she hopped into the passenger seat, Claire's eyebrows shot up, concern painting her features. "You look like you just walked out of a storm." "More like I just survived one." Leah managed a weak smile, grateful for the warmth of her friend's presence. "Got a story to tell?" "Oh, you have no idea," Leah said, taking a deep breath as they pulled away from the curb. The city lights began to blur past them like a fading memory, and she knew the next few hours would reveal struggles and revelations she was unprepared for but desperately needed. "What's your plan?" Claire asked, glancing sideways. Leah felt the corners of her mouth lift as she contemplated the future. "Plan? Right now? To figure out me without them?" And with that, Leah felt a wave of resolve wash over her, bringing with it the thrill of uncharted territory waiting ahead. She took a moment to breathe it in, the hope, the possibility. As they drove away from the familiarity of betrayal and hurt, Leah's mind raced to new destinations. But little did she know, the storm wasn't over. With her heart set on healing, an unexpected revelation would soon knock at her door, one that would change everything once again. The road opened up as Claire's car zipped past the city outskirts, the sounds of honking horns replaced by the soft whisper of wind against the windows. Leah felt the pressure begin to lift, but fear still clung like a shadow in the back of her mind. What was she running from? The answer was a life she had just begun to unravel, a truth that felt too heavy to carry. "Where to?" Claire asked, her eyes twinkling with opportunity. She had always been the adventurous one, spontaneous and fearless, the very opposite of Leah's cautious nature. "Anywhere but here." Leah laughed, though it didn't entirely reach her eyes. "Just drive and let us see where we end up." "Got it. Just me and my trusty GPS." Claire grinned and pressed down on the accelerator, the car surging ahead as a feeling of freedom washed over Leah. The miles blurred into a stream of highway signs and trees, an ever-changing canvas that brought a sense of peace to Leah's turbulent heart. She turned to Claire, who was singing along to the upbeat song playing on the radio, and despite her own turmoil, she found herself smiling at her friend's enthusiasm. "I promised I'd be there for you. No matter what," Claire said, glancing over. "You don't have to hold anything back. I want to listen." Leah's heart pounded at the thought of opening up. "It's just, everything's a mess. Brad, my mother. It's like I don't know them anymore." Claire nodded, her expression softening. "Feelings don't have to make sense to be real. Let it out, Leah. Trust me, talking helps." With a deep breath, Leah began to share the story. As she recounted the moment she caught them together, the weight of betrayal settled heavily on her chest. It wasn't just grief. It was anger, confusion, and a deep-seated sense of loss for the future she had so meticulously planned. "I thought I'd have a family to grow old with, a life built on love. Now it feels like I've lost everything," Leah admitted, her eyes glistening. Claire reached over, giving her hand a reassuring squeeze. "You're stronger than you realize. You will rebuild. Sometimes, the things we think will break us actually set us free." The truth in Claire's words resonated. Leah felt a flicker of hope flash through her heart. Maybe this was her chance to start anew. Maybe she could find a way to rewrite her story, take back the narrative from those who had stolen it. As Claire navigated the curves of an unfamiliar road, Leah looked out at the distant mountains bathed in the golden glow of the setting sun. "How about a cabin in the woods?" she suggested, an idea blossoming. "Just you and me away from all of this. Now we're talking." Claire's eyes lit up, excitement radiating from her. "Let us see if we can make it a weekend to remember." But just as Leah felt the tides of change washing over her, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She hesitated, unsure if she wanted to face the world again, but curiosity got the better of her. She pulled it out, and her heart dropped as she saw the name on the screen, Brad. A wave of emotions crashed over her, tightening her throat. "Don't answer," Claire urged gently, her eyes flicking to Leah. "Maybe it's something important," Leah replied, though her heart was already racing. "Maybe it's about us. Or maybe it's just more heartache," Claire countered. But Leah was already pressing the button. "Hello?" Her voice wavered slightly, uncertainty seeping in. "Leah, please just listen." Brad's voice came through, breaking the silence, filled with urgency. As Leah braced herself for yet another revelation, Dawn began to break in her heart, a realization that this moment could either pull her downward or be the turning point she desperately needed. What would he say? What was he hiding now? Would this be just another layer of lies? Or was there a chance he could explain everything? With her heart pounding, Leah realized that she stood at a crossroad, one path, leading back to the wreckage of her past, and the other toward the unknown, ever-elusive future. Which way would she go? Leah, please. Brad's voice was frantic on the line. I know you're hurt, but you have to hear me out. I didn't mean for things to turn out this way. Leah took a deep breath, feeling Claire's supportive presence next to her. A silent reminder that she wasn't alone. Behind Brad's pleading tone, all she could hear was her own heartbreak echoing in her mind. The anger, a simmering fire, started to bubble to the surface again. What could you possibly say that would make any of this better? Just let me explain, Brad insisted. It's not what you think. There's so much more. Leah glanced out the window at the fading light, the shadows of trees stretching across the roadside like hands reaching for something lost. She could feel herself standing on that crumbling edge again. The last thing she wanted was to revisit yesterday's wreckage, but here he was, tugging at the frayed threads of her heart. Do you think I'm just going to believe your excuses? She shot back, the tremor in her voice betraying her. You and my mother, you betrayed me, Brad. Claire intertwined her fingers with Leah's, grounding her amidst the rising tide of emotions. Remember, you're not trapped anymore. You're free to choose, she whispered, her voice barely audible over the conversation on the phone. Leah, I never wanted to hurt you, Brad continued, his voice breaking slightly. I made a mistake. But please, I need you to know. I'm still in love with you. Leah's breath hitched. Love? What good was love when it was so easily tossed away? What about my mother? She asked, each word like a stone falling heavy and cold. You knew how much I loved her. I know, and I hate that it came to this. But it was one night, just one moment of weakness. It meant nothing. I thought we were going to get married. Stop. Leah almost shouted, her heart racing. You think that just because you didn't plan it, it makes it okay? How can you say it meant nothing? You don't get to decide what it is or isn't for me. Her voice cracked as frustration and sorrow swirled inside her. Claire squeezed her hand tighter, offering a lifeline, but Leah felt weightless, suspended between rage and despair. Each word from Brad was a knife, digging deeper, and yet part of her wanted to know more. Please let us talk, he urged again. In person. Just the two of us. The thought knotted her stomach. After everything? What could possibly come of meeting him again? Would she become a pawn in his game just like before? I need time. I can't just do this right now, she replied, her voice steadier but still thin. She hung up before he could respond, the silence of the car enveloping her. The only sound was Claire's soft breathing, the air thick with anticipation, a shared weight that hung in the space between them. The tension was palpable, and with it came a desperate urge to escape further from the reminders of her past. Leah needed to breathe to reclaim the fragments of herself that felt scattered and broken. What did he say? Claire asked gently, her eyes searching Leah's. I don't know, Leah whispered, staring out at the horizon where the sun melted into a soft blush of oranges and purples. It doesn't change what happened. I can hardly even look at him without feeling sick. But you deserve answers, Claire reminded her. You deserve closure. Leah nodded slowly, but she knew that closure might be an elusive dream. For every answer Brad gave, another question would rise to the surface. Let us keep driving, Leah finally said, her voice resolute. I don't want to be anywhere near him or this pain. Just then, her phone buzzed again in the quiet of the car. It was a text. She hesitated, glancing at Claire's supportive smile. Heart racing, Leah picked up the phone once more, needing to know, but afraid of what secrets the screen might reveal next. You okay? Claire asked, leaning closer. Leah bit her lip, uncertain of what awaited her in the message. As she unlocked the phone, dread gnawed at her. What more could she uncover that might turn her whole world upside down again? With uncertainty clenching her heart, Leah waited for the screen to reveal the fate of her already shattered life. As Leah's thumb hovered over the screen, Claire leaned a little closer, their breaths mingling in the small car. Anxiety tightened in her chest like a vice. She could feel the weight of each passing second as she hesitated to read the text that might change everything again. Finally, she exhaled sharply and tapped the message open. It was from Brad. Leah's heart sank. It wasn't a heartfelt apology or a promise of change. Instead, it was a short note, almost casual. I want to give up on us. Let us talk soon. I'll be waiting for you at the cafe where we first met. 1,000 thoughts raced through her mind. What was he thinking? Why would he want to meet there of all places? Their memories flooded back, sweet and painful, drinks clinking, laughter ringing, a world long gone now. Leah? Claire's voice was quiet, a soft anchor amidst her spiraling thoughts. What did he say? It doesn't matter, Leah replied, her smartphone slipping from her fingers and onto her lap. The feeling of helplessness washed over her, crashing her emotions against a rock. She turned to Claire, her voice a whisper broken with hurt. He wants to meet at the cafe. Claire's brow furrowed, concern etched on her face. Are you going to go? I don't know, she said, shaking her head. The decision felt impossibly heavy on her chest. Meeting him would be like inviting the tornado back into her life. What if you go and it's a waste of time? Claire challenged gently, her tone both firm and encouraging. Or what if he just wants to manipulate you again? Leah bounced her fingertip against her knee, the car's low hum grounding her, but the turmoil inside refused to quiet. As much as she wanted to refuse him, a part of her craved to confront him, to understand, to reclaim her story. Yet, the thought of being vulnerable with the one person who hurt her the most filled her with dread. The cafe, a place once filled with love, now felt like a battleground. Leah stumbled on her words, unsure how to express what lay heavy in her heart. I'm scared, Claire. Scared that I might still feel something. Or that he'll say things that'll make it hard for me to walk away again. Claire nodded, the understanding shining in her eyes. That's valid. You don't have to rush into anything. You deserve to take your time. No one can decide for you. But he's using the cafe, Leah muttered, glancing at the windows, watching streetlights flicker to life as they passed. It's like he thinks he can worm his way back in just by showing up where we used to be happy. Or it could be a sign that he knows he messed things up and wants to make amends, Claire suggested, though Leah could see the wariness etched on her friend's face. Leah bit her lip, the thought of their shared past almost suffocating her. Could a place so full of memories also hold the key to her future? They drove on in silence, the tension simmering beneath the surface. Leah could feel each mile dragging on her resolve, and the decision loomed over her like dark clouds before a storm. Her phone buzzed again, jolting her from her thoughts. Another message from Brad. Please don't ignore me. It's important. Leah's chest tightened, the seconds stretching as if time had slowed. Part of her wanted to throw the phone out the window, to escape the grip of him altogether, while another part of her desperately sought closure. What if he does have something important to say? She mused aloud, uncertainty weaving through her voice. What if this is my chance to finally get all the answers? But what if it only brings more heartache? Claire pursed her lips thoughtfully. Then you'll decide what to do next when you get there. You're not trapped anymore, remember? Leah took a deep breath, staring out at the road ahead, the glowing horizon ahead promising both hope and fear. Okay, she said at last, determination threading through her voice. Let us head toward the cafe. As Claire smiled and turned the wheel, Leah felt her heart racing. With every passing minute, she understood how this meeting could unravel her or set her free. And as they drove closer, the question loomed larger than anything else. Could facing Brad bring her the freedom she longed for? Or would it tighten the chains around her heart once more? As they approached the cafe, Leah's palms grew sweaty, a bead of anxiety trickling down her spine. The familiar red awning came into view, its bright color clashing with the nervous darkness pooling in her stomach. Memories of laughter and comfort haunted her thoughts, grotesquely overshadowed by the turmoil unleashed by Brad's text. You okay? Claire asked, her voice a lifeline amidst the turmoil. I don't know, Leah replied, swallowing hard. I thought I was ready for this, but what? Claire pressed gently, pulling into a parking spot. Leah ran a hand through her hair, trying to push back the rising tide of uncertainty. It's just, the last time I saw him everything fell apart. I don't even know if I'll recognize him, or if he is the same person I used to love. Claire parked the car and turned to face her, her eyes bright with understanding. You're stronger than you think, Leah. Just remember why you're going there in the first place. The tension in the air felt almost palpable as Leah stepped out of the car. Each step towards the cafe felt like wading through thick fog, swirling with doubt. What did she hope to gain from this? Was there still love there? Or was it merely a ghost? The bell over the door chimed as she entered, its cheerful sound contrasting starkly with her racing heartbeat. The cafe was almost empty, save for a few scattered patrons who were lost in their own worlds. As she scanned the room, her eyes landed on Brad, sitting at a small table tucked in the corner, fiddling with his phone. He looked different, more rugged and less polished than she remembered, but those familiar features still stirred something deep inside her. "Leah," Claire whispered, squeezing her arm gently. "You can do this." Taking a deep breath, Leah felt her legs move against her will. Each step echoed, a countdown to their reunion. When he finally looked up, his eyes met hers, and for a moment time froze. "Leah," he breathed, as if she were a soothing balm to a festering wound. Her heart fluttered, and anger surged all at once. How could he still make her feel like this? "You said you wanted to talk," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. Brad gestured to the empty seat, a tentative smile breaking on his lips. "I've missed you." Missed her? The words felt like a slap, a mixture of sweetness twisted with the sour poison of their past. "You've missed me? Or just the idea of me?" Brad's expression shifted, his defensiveness rising. "You don't know what I stop." Leah held up a hand, heart pounding in her chest. "You don't get to say that after everything that happened. You can't just gloss over it. I need to understand why you're here. Why now?" He slumped back in his chair, the casual facade crumbling, revealing the tension running beneath the surface. "I want to explain myself. I messed up, Leah, and I'm sorry." His words collided with her emotions, sending shards of longing fighting against the shield she'd built. Was he sincere? Could a few words undo all the hurt? She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. Instead, the silence felt charged with electricity, a heavy weight pressing down as she wrestled with the emotions swirling within her. "I know you're angry," he continued, his voice softer this time, "but I really need you to hear me out." For a moment, Leah stood at the crossroads of choice. Should she let him explain? Yearn for any glimmer of understanding? Or protect herself from the storm she could already feel rising again? The cafe around them resumed its hum, oblivious to the tempest brewing at that table. It was just her, Brad, and the weight of every unspoken word hanging in the air. "Okay," she finally whispered, her heart racing in nervous anticipation. "Talk to me. But this better be worth my time." With her heart pounding, she leant in as Brad began to speak, a mixture of hope and dread flooding her veins. Would this be the moment that starts a new chapter? Or would it unravel everything once more? Brad took a shaky breath, his eyes searching Leah's, an urgency pulsating in the silence that hung between them. "I never wanted to hurt you, Leah. The truth is, when I met your mother again, it felt like an escape from reality, from the pressure of everything. I was lost in my own world." Leah narrowed her eyes. "An escape? You call cheating an escape?" The word struck like lightning, and she could see the flinch in his posture. "I know it sounds awful," he continued, voice laced with regret. "But there were moments leading up to our wedding where I felt suffocated. I thought we were perfect, but inside I was scared. I was scared of committing, scared of letting you down." "Scared? You think betraying me makes it okay?" Leah's voice quivered, fury and heartbreak intertwined within her. "I thought that it wouldn't matter," Brad confessed, his gaze dropping to the table. "It was just one night. But it opened a door to confusion, and I didn't know how to close it. I didn't mean for it to grow into something real." "Real?" Leah echoed incredulously, breath hitching. "You made a choice, Brad. You chose to hurt me. And I'm sitting here assuming you're about to explain your way back into my life?" A flicker of pain crossed his face. "No. I'm here because I want to make amends. I thought if I explained why it all happened, maybe it could help." Leah released a frustrated breath as her heart thumped wildly. Could it really help? Should she even care? Was this meeting even worth the emotional turmoil? But just then she looked into Brad's eyes. Beneath the guilt and regret, she saw something else, a hint of sincerity. It unsettled her, making her realize that her journey wasn't only about betrayal, but also about understanding and finding closure for herself, regardless of his intentions. "Okay," she said cautiously. "Make your case." "I'm listening." Brad nodded. And there was a moment of stillness, the cafe bustling around them contrasting sharply with the weight of the revelations unfolding. I guess I pushed you away without realizing I was doing it. I became obsessed with work, the wedding plans overwhelmed me, and in that space your mother was comfort. But it was wrong. I know that now. I should have come to you with my fears instead of seeking solace in someone else. Leah's eyes glazed with emotion. And what do you expect me to do with all this information? Do you think this makes it easier for me? I hope it might help you understand that I was never happy about what I did. I just didn't know what to do. But now? Now. Leah pressed, what's different now? The words hung in the air, the tension becoming palpable again. Brad leaned in. Desperation swirling in his expression. I want to fix this. I want to fight for you. For us. I've spent the last few weeks realizing how much I love you. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to prove it. Leah's heart trembled at the weight of his confession. Every word tugging and twisting inside her. But love? Love was complicated. And my mother? What's her role in this? Brad's face fell, shadows returning, but he pressed on. I want to apologize to you both. Yes, what I did was unacceptable. But I never meant to come between you two. I thought the spark between us was a distraction, it wasn't real. It was a figment of fear. What if she just brushes it aside? Leah felt frustration welling up. Do I forgive you both? Is trust even feasible now? Only if you want it to be, he replied quietly. A whirlwind of emotions encircled Leah. The echoes of their past murmuring loudly. Could she dare to even believe hope that this might lead to something better? Then it'll take more than words, Brad. Love is not just a word on a page. It's actions. He hesitated, searching her gaze. I know I have a lot to make up for. But it starts with this. With you. With a sigh, Leah looked outside into the fading light of dusk. The familiar comfort broke as she thought about her future. She clenched her fists, her heart racing with the possibilities of a real choice. But then another voice broke through, knocking her off balance. Leah? Turning. She saw her mother standing just outside the cafe door. A mess of emotions washing over her face. The sheer weight of seeing Helen again filled Leah's heart, with a mixture of rage and endless hurt. Mom! She exclaimed, confusion simmering within. What are you doing here? Helen pushed through the door, her eyes pleading. I came to talk to Brad. Leah felt both anger and fear swirl inside her. I thought it was over, Leah. Please, can we talk somewhere private? Her mother's voice quaked with desperation. Suddenly, the stakes felt higher than ever. Leah realized this meeting had opened a floodgate of confrontation. A turning point she never anticipated for either of them. There they stood, the two women torn apart by shared betrayal. Now both needing each other in more ways than one. Maybe it is time to finally face it all, Leah thought. The stormy path ahead pulsing with raw potential. Would they be able to mend the pieces of their broken hearts? As she faced both Brad and Helen, Leah felt the tension thicken. Yet within that, a sense of hope ignited, an undeniable message that perhaps forgiveness starts not in forgetting, but in finding the strength to face what hurts. With her heart steady and resolve firm, Leah took a deep breath. Then let us talk. The messy road ahead began to unfold before her, and finally, she understood that she could emerge whole from this chaos. This was her story, and it was time to rewrite it for herself. Now is your turn to embrace change. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help elevate other transformative tales. Comment below with your feelings about Leah's journey and what you hope for her future. And don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support.